Well, the streak comes to an end at 3 games. The Sharks lose one in Manhattan. We'll break it down. We'll break down if they have a little bit of a gripe for the power play called. And Adin Hill getting back-to-back starts. Well, let's talk about it right now. This is Teal Town After Dark. And with that, everyone, good evening, everyone. It is Friday night, December 3rd, 2021. Before you run off to go get some presents at the mall, let's talk some hockey right now on Teal Town After Dark. This is your live and interactive Sharks postgame. We do this after every game, so do yourselves a favor. Follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Of course, hit that YouTube channel. Subscribe button really does a whole lot for us. SoundCloud, Reddit, and of course our Discord after the show. Find everything at tealtownusa.com. And of course, if you want to be part of the show, chat with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app. With that, I say good evening to you. I am Erik alongside Mr. Ian Reid. How are you, good sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm a little perplexed by this team in the third period, but we'll get to that in a little bit here. It's one of those ones that's like, yes, you kept the Rangers to just one goal, but you looked very gassed in the third period. And I think that's kind of cost them a chance at getting it to overtime at least.
Yeah, I mean, second night of back-to-backs. So obviously I think that's going to happen, especially when you're on an Eastern road swing, so your internal clock's going to be a little bamboozled, which makes those back-to-backs a little bit more difficult. But I think, all in all, there's some things to be annoyed at. I don't think there's really any reason, I'm not angry about this game. I think there's some things that are concerning and some things that are a little bit annoying, but I think there's still a lot of positives you can take from it.
Absolutely. Like I said, you kept the high-flying Rangers to just one goal on the night. And let's break that down while we're at it here. So Dylan Strome gets a power play goal. Nice slapper that beats Hill.
Dylan Strome.
Brian Strome, excuse me. There's too many darn brothers in the NHL, damn it. Yeah. So Strome, we'll do that. How's that, folks? With a nice slapper, beats Hill, who's in net because Reimer wakes up this morning saying, I'm not feeling good. So back-to-back starts for Hill, which I didn't mind too much. But what did you think of the goal that essentially won the game?
So I looked at I didn't watch the game. I didn't watch this period in real time, so I kind of skimmed through it as quickly as I could during the intermissions to try and figure out what was what. And I didn't really like the call that led to the goal, but the goal itself I didn't really have an issue with. I think Adin Hill had a really good night tonight. I didn't hate that goal that he let in. It wasn't like the night before, like the previous night where that first goal was just brutal. And then he kind of settled in and he was really, really good for the rest of that game. This game, I thought he was great. Yeah, he allowed a goal, but I didn't really think it was a bad goal that he let in.
No, I didn't think so either. I thought it was a nice slapper by Strome. But getting back to what you touched on, the penalty to Noah Gregor for goaltender interference. On the replay...
Didn't love it.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Nemeth gets a push. Yes, Shesterkin goes down, which I get will cause some what the,
Yeah.
But
I mean, it is what it is, though. I mean, I didn't like the call. I kind of get it. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh man, the refs just jobbed the Sharks tonight, because I don't think that's what happened.
No.
Did I love the call? No, but I mean, so kill the penalty.
Yeah, you got to kill the penalty. The Sharks have been one of the better PK teams in the league, although they've kind of stayed, have lost their edge a little bit over the last month or so. But that made it 1-0. And just going into the second, there wasn't a whole lot there either. Vlasic takes a tripping call. As Randy mentioned, French Canadian violence with Lafreniere. The Rangers wouldn't get anything off of that. Third period, this is where I started seeing some things. It's like definitely had a definitely saw, like, obviously saw these guys were gassed. um but the near the end of that game, and I hate to jump to the conclusion of it, because there isn't a whole too much to talk about, but at the end of the game, these guys looked gas. Something you wanted to touch on, the second line, where have you gone?
Yeah, here's the problem. Like, Bob Boughner's in a really tough conundrum right now, right? Because your first line's going. Like, you don't want to break up the first line. But are there any guys in the bottom six you really want to put in, to shuffle that second group up? Like, Boughner's kind of in a really tough spot here. I don't know. Maybe throw Gregor up on the second line and take a guy off. But I don't know. I just feel like I know people are starting to get really annoyed by Hertl, but I just feel like, and I like Balcers and I like Barabanov, but are they top six forwards anywhere else in the league? Like, I think Hertl's done a pretty good job, all things considered. And I've liked, and it's not to say I don't like either of these players. Like Barabanov, I've liked a lot. I think he's shown some stuff through the season. And I feel like Balcers, as much as I like Balcers, like, there's not a lot of finish there, right? And I really like Rudy Balcers, but is he going to be, if he doesn't finish, if he continues to not finish, then how do you justify that him sticking on the second line? Like, so I don't know. I don't know what you do. I think you could probably give Kevin Labanc a longer look on Hertl's line to see if you can get anything out of that. I think that's an option. Noah Gregor's probably another option. Of guys that they're currently playing that I think could step into that role. Because what are your other options? You're not going to put Nieto there.
No, I mean, who else do you have? I mean, you
right, and that's the problem, right?
Right. Logan Teal 86 saying Jaden Helmgewatz should get a look soon. He hasn't had a call up yet with the Sharks. Steve Rector saying we're Benino or Cogs to help to add lines to the line's forecheck.
I mean, I guess. Yeah. I just think they just need finish on that line. That's what I think they need.
What? Latvian doesn't work for you?
Pardon?
Latvian doesn't work for you with Balcers? Sorry, that was bad.
I think they just need some finish on that line, right? And it's just, and I like Barabanov there. I think Balcers is the guy that I would bounce off that line for a little bit to see if you can get something going on that line.
And Hertl and Barabanov had some nice looks and chemistry near the end of last season, so obviously that's where Boughner is looking at that as a way to kind of get them connected. You know how they like their pairs.
Yeah.
Dana Meyerson, we see you on here all the time, so appreciate you here. But Hertl is galaxy braining and lowering his value in a contract year so that DW can sign him for less. Don't question his methods.
I
won't. Yes. Hey, if that works, then perfect.
Yeah, Steve in the chat saying we need some Jake DeBrusk action, man. I would do DeBrusk for Labanc tomorrow. Like, I don't know if Boston goes for that, but I feel like it's such a perfect hockey trade, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're both guys who their coaches are both, and both teams are kind of soured on. So it's like it's kind of like a problem for a problem trade. I would. That's kind of what I would do. I at least make the call. I don't know. I think it probably takes more than Kevin Labanc to get Jake DeBrusk out of Boston, but that's, something I would probably take a peek at.
Hey, Boston, you interested in Vander Kane? Just saying, it'd be nice to get something non-roster over to get a player of Jake DeBrusk's type, because I think he can bring in some great stuff along with.
Yeah, and I think Bugner would love a guy like Jake DeBrusk, where like obviously like Kevin LeBanc. I don't think Kevin LeBanc's ever fighting his way out of the doghouse that he's in with Bugner. That's why I think like I like I said, I don't know if one for one you get that trade done, but I would make the call if I was Doug Wilson.
Yeah, Kevin's saying hell no to the Helga Watts call up. I mean, 85 Biluch, at least LeBanc tries to shoot the puck. Yeah, that was one thing also in the game. We saw Carlson back to Gregor, back to Carlson, back to Gregor, and one shot gets blocked, and that's it for their offensive zone penetration. And I hate to be the guy that's saying shoot, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's New York. I mean, you can see why. Like, if you watch this game, like you can see why New York has won as many games and is doing them as well as they are. Right? Like they were really good at, I thought, really forcing the Sharks out to the outside, and they really just man-to-man defense. Like they were wherever the Sharks were in the offensive zone, the Rangers were all over them. Like they didn't give you a whole lot of time and space and to really do anything.
No.
And I thought the shots on goal for the most part of the game really reflected that. And then not only that, but then for most of the game you have Shesterkin, which I think is I think he's one of the best goalies in the league, and I think he's going to be just a stud for a long time. Like hopefully his injury isn't serious.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever pulled a groin. Like God, that's agony. Absolute agony. I can personally attest to just how awful pulling a groin is. So hopefully it's a pull and it's not a tear and there's no nothing horribly wrong with him, because I think he's one of the best goalies in the league.
Yeah, no, Shesterkin, full credit to him. He had that groin, or we're assuming groin injury. We should call it a lower body injury. He was taken out of the game. Georgiev, who has been up and down, came in cold to finish this off. I mean, overall, the Sharks barely outshot the Rangers 28-27. I'll give them credit for the faceoffs. They are getting absolutely destroyed in the faceoff circle after one period of play. 58% in the end tonight for San Jose.
Yeah, because there was like 70% after the Rangers won 70% of the jobs after the first. Yeah, definitely concern there. But I think again, I think there's a lot of positives tonight. I think a big positive last two games has been the play of Adin Hill, because I know a lot of people, and I think justifiably so, were down on Adin Hill after his last couple of starts, to the point where Reimer started getting the lion's share of the work.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to see Adin Hill kind of bounce back and get some good games, and hopefully this is more. I'm not sure what to make of Adin Hill yet. Like, I think Reimer's definitely been the better goalie, and I don't think that's disputable at this point. But at the same time, I don't know exactly. We know what Reimer's a known quantity. I don't know what to make of Adin Hill yet. So hopefully we see more of this and less of what we've seen earlier in the season with him. Because I think, again, my big concern right now is, I think what's Reimer's record for starts in a season is somewhere in the 30s.
Right.
So they can't. I don't want them to run Reimer, to like a 70-30 split with Hill. So if Hill's gonna start getting some more starts again, so that we're not gonna just completely run Reimer into the ground, he's got to keep, he's got to obviously earn those starts. And so far, last couple of games after Reimer got a bunch of starts, Adin Hill's looked really good. There's a couple things in his game that still kind of concern me a little bit, because I think for a guy his size, I feel like he plays a little deep in the paint.
And see, I thought, wasn't he advertised as a guy that's going to come out and challenge a little bit more? And for a guy his stature, well over 6 feet, that, you would think there would be a lot more to be afraid of, or not get those extra holes or something.
44. Sorry. Yes, I knew it was like it was 44, not 33. I thought it was 33, 44. Yeah. Still half a season, right? I don't think you want to see Reimer play like a 70-30 split. So I think, I just, yeah, I want Adin Hill to do well, obviously, right? Like I don't want, I as much as I love having like a pinata on the team that I can just whack whenever I feel like it, I'd rather that not be Adin Hill. I got that out of my system with Jones. Like, give me another player that I can whack like a pinata.
Matthew Phipps, thanks very much. Gallant said it was just a minor lower body injury per Arthur Staple of The Athletic. Wow. I mean, that looked a lot
they might
worse.
Be breathing a sigh of relief, right? Well, it was weird because, like, again, it didn't really look like much when the play happened, but with the way his leg kind of went, like, I'm like, yeah, that's probably a pull. I'm just glad he didn't tear anything. Hopefully hopefully they'll, do whatever they need to do, MRI or whatever, and everything comes back good. Because again, one of the best goalies in the league.
Yeah. Skyler, who was at the game tonight, all the Rangers fans told their guys to shoot. This may have been the most frustrating 1-0 the Rangers will have all season because they overpassed instead of shooting. Yeah, and the same thing I think with the Sharks is that they kind of overpass a little bit. But credit to the Rangers on getting in the way, especially when they knew the Sharks were tired and couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they didn't shoot though. I mean, they still had like 27 shots on goal. I thought, and they had some really good looks. Like Panarin had some really, really good looks that Hill turned aside. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Rangers fan, so I'm not going to tell Rangers fans how to feel. But I thought I wouldn't be too annoyed by, again, like you got the 2 points for one, and I think they were the better team tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know. I mean, far be it for me to tell a Rangers fan how to feel based on how they've played this year, but I would be pretty content if I was a Rangers fan. 2 points is 2 points, and I thought they played really well defensively, and I thought they had some good looks, and Adin Hill was just up to the task.
Yeah, and Hill, again, we mentioned Hill. These were 2 games he needed to bounce back from. He got some rest as Reimer went on a run. So hopefully he's found his game and they can get back to that tandem, because you're right. If Reimer's only played more than 44 games in a season, you're going to need that.
Do you want him playing 70? No.
Yeah, no, we're not.
Right. And that was my concern. Like, do you want him playing, like, even up to, like, even let's say he starts 60 games. Like, is that ideal? Probably not.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need to go full Nabby that 1 year, or hell, if you want to go way back, Urbe 1 year where he played 78. That's just ridiculous.
I mean, look at Martin Jones. Martin Jones used to play a bajillion games, which probably didn't help him at all, because as the more he played, it didn't seem like, I think one of the benefits to how he's done in Philadelphia so far has been that he's not starting every game, right? I don't know. I think there's something to be said. Some goalies can do it, right? Some goalies can play a bajillion games, but I think, Reimer's started 44. There's probably a reason for that. We don't need to push it.
Yeah. Maria Papiani. I personally feel that our talent is not being utilized appropriately and not in a manner to facilitate cohesion in play. What would you say about that? Because I think there's like a little bit of reluctance for Bob to kind of, move the lines around and break out the old Peter DeBoer line blender.
He doesn't have the horses to break out the Peter DeBoer line blender.
Okay.
I am not a big Bob Boughner guy, but I think this season he has gotten a lot more than I expected him to get out of this roster. Is there some things that I would do differently? Some guys that I would dress and not dress? I see in the chat, like, obviously I think, Peterson's getting a lot of hate. I think it's deserved, but I don't know. I think Bob Boughner's gotten a lot out of this group, I feel like.
Do you think it's
I just don't think he has the horses.
So
I think he's gotten a lot of what he has. I just don't think he has he doesn't have the horses Peter DeBoer had.
right.
Peter DeBoer could blend the lines because they had 3
solid lines.
pretty solid lines. Peter DeBoer has 1.5 at any given time.
Yeah. If
Or
that.
Bob Bugner, sorry, has 1.5 at any given time.
Yeah.
Like it's a young team, right? So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm not a big Bob Bugner guy, but I think he's gotten a lot out of this team, more than I thought he would.
The other thing too is that the 1.5 lines that are there, where are they? I mean, we talked about the second line. Hurdle has now got 1 goal, 1 assist in his last 9. You know, Couture has 1 goal in his last 10.
Yeah, but his line's
been rolling though.
Timo Meier's been doing well, and I feel like having a healthy Couture has definitely contributed to the resurgence of Timo Meier.
Right. So, which is nice, but you know, it'd be nice to get the other horses going once, you know, Meier. You can't bank on one guy doing all your offense. Yes, it's been nice. He's been on a run. I mean, he had a multi-point streak snapped tonight in this one. So, you know.
But I mean, yeah, like look at there's guys that have to get back on their horse a little bit here, right? Yeah. Like a guy like Balcers has to start finishing because now we're a quarter of the way through the season, and we haven't seen like Bonino. It felt like the dam burst and the goals just started coming, right?
Yeah,
and I kind of hope that would be the case with Balcers, but it really hasn't. Brent Burns has been pretty pedestrian as far as offense goes. So I mean, look at like I feel like, you know, like I still stand by the fact that I don't think Bob Bugner has the horses that Peter DeBoer did, but at the same time, like some of those, you know, some of the horses he does have need to get moving.
Yeah. AJ saying 11 straight without Burns getting on the score sheet. Fanatical Teal bleeder, no, let's not start that debate again. Burns to forward, no, not that again. Tom Dolan saying, you know, it's a developing team and it's pretty well coached. I mean,
yeah, I think given what Bob Bugner has to work with, I think he's done really well. I think this you can see structure this year that wasn't there last year. Like, I feel like there's a lot more buy-in this year. I think they've played a more, you know, I think that the goalies have been good, but I think they've been helped defensively too.
Yeah, they've been a lot better defensively. Let's be. I mean, come on. You only allow 1 goal to New York. You only allow 1 goal to New Jersey, and you shut out Chicago. You've allowed 2 goals on this road trip. I mean, full kudos to the team there. Unfortunately, you know, you're 3-1.
Yep.
You know, so I mean, all around.
I mean, this road trip. I mean, even like. So they go to Columbus. I mean,
or they allow 2 to New Jersey, 1 to the Islanders. My bad. Let me fix that.
So I mean, even like if you go, regardless, like I feel like this road trip, like for me, is a success, regardless of what happens in the Columbus. Like as long as they get completely destroyed by Columbus, I think, you know, you'd have to be pretty happy with how this road trip has gone so far.
Yeah. So. Let's get to comments from the locker room before I talk about Roy Sommer anymore. Timo saying after the game, we need to get to Shesterkin earlier to make it tough for him and get into the game. For him to get into the game. You know, Bob saying, I thought we played hard, started great, didn't kill that Gregor penalty. I don't know if that was a penalty, just couldn't stall Shesterkin.
Yeah. No, I mean the Sharks got kind of goalied for a lot of the game, and I think even Georgiev coming in, he was good. Like I know he's had a pretty rough year, and he didn't have to do a ton. Like it wasn't like he had to face like super difficult shots. But again, credit to the Rangers for that. Mm-hmm. But I thought Georgiev came in cold, having a rough season, and did what they needed him to do. I think Georgiev gets full marks for tonight.
Even the save he made on the bench, I don't know if you saw
Yes,
that.
yes, the save on the bench was amazing.
I mean, he was like,
I love how casual it was. Just
yeah, I got it. Oh, hey, you want a puck next door? Okay, there you go.
goalies, man. I love goalies. I know people would be shocked to hear that because of my last year's pinata, but I love goalies. Goalies are great.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with Bob here. We gave ourselves a chance to win, but we couldn't find any offense. We wanted to keep things tight, and I thought we did a good job of that. And yeah, again, uh, like you said, you put up a goose egg for Chicago. You give up 2 to New Jersey, 1 to the Islanders, 1 to the Rangers. 4 games, 4 goals allowed.
Yeah, I like I said tonight. I think there's things to be concerned about, things to be annoyed about, but if you're a Sharks fan and you're angry about tonight's outcome, like, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not going to tell you how to fan, but I I think you probably need to calm down.
Every single guy has bought into the system. It's been good so far. We've been giving a lot less goals than last season. That's for sure. Yes, absolutely, Logan. Hill was great, and we didn't play well enough in front of him. You let in 1 goal. Come on, Cooch. Let's not get too down on ourselves here. We had a few good looks on the power play, and I have to score. I could have been better. That I can give a bit to. I think I can faintly hear AJ, drumming up the power play drum again, because that's kind of fallen off a little bit. Now it's 20th in the
But
league.
I mean, it's not just the power play; like the offense in general, just wasn't there tonight.
No, that's my point. You got to seize the opportunity. Is kind of how I'm feeling, and I think that's kind of what Logan's thinking too, for that matter. Let's see here. They did a good job pressuring, a good job putting pucks behind us, making it tough for us to break out from Timo. So yeah, just kind of looking at it, and it's one of those things where you have to, and even Logan saying we have to start scoring some goals, dirty goals. We passed up too many shots tonight.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's more than fair. So, plus, I mean, you play this game without Gadjevich. Lane Peterson comes back in. You had Milosh, come in for Shimmick, which, okay, I didn't think he was.
I don't think
bad.
Shimmick's been good. Like Shimmick's that contract is aged like milk, and it's really short, so that's probably problematic. But it is what it is. Again, like this goes back to what I said, on a previous show. It's like the Sharks find a guy who plays good with one of their defensemen who thinks defense is optional, and they kind of go all in, and that's what they do with Shimmick, I think. And I think Shimmick's had a couple injuries that he hasn't really been the same since either, and I think that's probably fair.
Yeah.
But that's why, like, as much as I love what Jake Middleton's doing, and I get really nervous about what they do with him, when his contract's up, because I don't want to see him get a Shimmick deal and then just be a 1-season wonder.
Yeah. And
that's not saying, like, I'm not trying to take it away from anything from Jake Middleton there. I think he's been great. I think him and Karlsson have been the Sharks' best D pair this year, and it's not particularly close. But you just get nervous that they'll be like, oh, well, look at he played good with Karlsson, so let's give him money and then we'll be fine. And then it's like,
let's not get crazy.
Right? Yeah, that's all. That's all I'm saying.
Let's not get crazy. I mean, Milosh played 12:02. Marc-Edouard Vlasic, even with the injury to Mario Ferraro early in the third period, only played 10:35. And I'm looking on here, only Peterson and Weatherby played fewer minutes tonight in the entire team.
Yeah.
That's tough to take for a guy that's making the money that Vlasic's making. And granted, a lot of that's probably pushed out from what he did in the past that they're paying for now. But, I mean...
It's weird, the Vlasic contract is a weird one, because I thought of all the contracts on the team when they got signed, right? Like, between his and Burns, I thought Vlasic was going to age better than Burns' deal. Because Vlasic's not overly physical guy, stick first defenseman, like, that type of player should have aged better. That's funny because when that was signed, I mean, obviously hindsight's 2020, but when that was signed, that was one of the contracts I was the least worried about because I thought, oh, Vlasic, he's gonna be fine, man. He's not an overly physical guy, so like you're not really worried about the body breaking down. Um, you know, plays more with his stick than the body.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that contract was gonna age better than it has.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by that one, big time. Uh, but Tom, is making a good point. Going into the season, I certainly didn't expect them to play this well. I think that makes us uh, have hope for more than is realistic. Yeah, they're 13-10-1. I think this is kind of where we all expected them to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not like, but it's funny because like as good as they've been, it's funny like Jerk and Jerk the other night when we were in Discord came in, he's like, so when are you gonna accept that this is a playoff team? And I'm like, well, when they start actually playing teams in the Pacific. And he's like, fair. It's like it's funny because I've been pleasantly surprised by the Sharks this year, but there's still a part of me waiting for the bottom to fall out just because as good as they've been. I'm waiting for the bottom to fall out. Maybe that's just because of the way the last couple of seasons have gone, and I'm still shell shocked from it. But yeah, no, like I think if I was to describe the Sharks this year, I mean pleasantly surprised. Like I don't feel like there's been a show really for a guy who used to, everyone's like, oh man, Ian's gonna rant. This is gonna be great. I don't think I've ranted a whole lot this year. I don't think I've really ranted. I haven't had a good rant once so far, and we're a quarter of the way through the season. So, I mean, yeah, I am super pleasantly surprised. And coming into December now, we do have some divisional games on the horizon, and those are the games that I'm super. That's when we're going to see what this team is and how this team, and then we can start getting our hopes up or down based on, I think, some of these games coming up in December.
And that's the big one.
Mhm.
After the Columbus game on Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head, I think the Sharks are in their own state the rest of the calendar year, and they have that one game in Anaheim to begin a back-to-back with the Ducks
Mhm.
and the Coyotes. But
I want to
this
see. I
is
think because
where it
I
starts to
want to
go.
see how they play the other California teams. That's what I'm most interested in seeing is how they stack up against those teams. Because I feel like those are the games that are going to make or break this season. And it might seem weird to say that because I think they're all going to be on the bubble, right?
Right.
So look, I'm not expecting the Sharks to go out and just clean house in Edmonton or Calgary or Vegas this year. Because I feel like by the time the Sharks get to play Vegas, they're going to be all healed, of course, and it'll suck to be us. So it's the California teams, and to a lesser extent like Vancouver. Like I feel like those are the games that are going to make or break this schedule
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah. After Columbus, 6 of the next 8 are in the division. As much as I would love, I know you're being realistic. I would love for them to, shock Edmonton or
Oh,
Calgary.
for sure. I just think expecting the Sharks to come out of those teams with a winning record, like I would love it if they did. I just think that expecting that or demanding
Right.
that, I just don't think it's realistic.
Right.
But if you can do really well against the Anaheims and LAs, that puts you at least in the bubble to
Yeah.
be one of those wild card teams, or and to see if this is a playoff team or if it's a just miss, or if they're if this is all fool's gold and they're a deep lottery team. I think those are the teams that those games against those teams are gonna determine that.
Yeah. And like they've been saying, they're buying into this system. They're playing defensively sound. Once they get that offense going, then you start to wonder, okay, maybe this team is a lot better than I think a lot of people expected. I think they've already shown that they're a good solid team uh, for that, and currently sitting, right now in the first wild card spot.
Hmm.
So let's see here. I would assume they would get yeah, they would get Calgary, which all right, very cool. I mean, and to stay in that race is nice, but like I said last night, you have 4 teams within 3 points of the Sharks gunning for you. So
Mhm. Yeah.
that kind of puts on the game there. Put a kibosh into that. Let's do some scores really quick. We'll do a little wrap around.
Mhm.
You
Okay.
know, Jets up 7-4 on the Devils. They've come to play now. Mark Scheifele with the hat trick, so he's finally woken up there. Jack Hughes with his third. The Golden Knights are up 2-1 on the Desert Dogs after one. Jonathan Marchessault with his 10th. Flames and Ducks just getting underway. Kraken already up 1-0. Yanni Gourde scored less than a minute into the game for that one. So that's your wraparound, folks.
There you go.
Yeah. So I don't have the jerseys up here, but how about those Stadium Series jerseys?
Awful.
Oh man. I mean, I guess you really go for the local appeal of it.
Yeah, I mean they're not for me, right? That's the thing I always like try to for perspective, right? Like a lot of people are like, "Oh man, Vegas's pregame shit's all cheesy as fuck," and I'm like, "Yeah, it might be, but it's not for me." So I don't really get too bent out of shape about it because it's not for me. I mean, the people in the arena just love it, right? And that's all that matters.
Yeah, and they go nuts for it. Um, yeah, the Tampa one doesn't. I don't mind the Tampa one. That one's not too
Tampa
bad.
one's okay. It's
Yeah,
fine. It's a Stadium Series jersey. It's fine.
yeah,
The Nashville one's pretty. It's too bad because I love the color.
yeah. The colors to go with it. That nice deep navy blue,
Yeah, love that.
with the
Like,
yellow looks sharp and crisp.
yeah,
Uh,
because when they showed like before they showed the whole thing, they showed the preview, and I'm like, ooh, I love that coloring. But yeah,
yeah.
the execution otherwise less than stellar.
The guitar pick just by itself instead of putting Smashville there, or maybe in small letters for Smashville, uh, would have made this a big hit. But yikes, yeah,
There was a
yikes.
question in the chat too
Oh,
before we go. Logan Teal asked, should the Sharks worry about extending Ferraro now with how lucrative the defense market got this offseason? I don't put Mario Ferraro in that stratosphere of defensemen, so I'm not worried about it. I think look at Mario Ferraro's good, and I think he's probably gonna get paid. But I'm not worried. Like I don't think Mario Ferraro is a $9 million defenseman. I think he's lucky if he's a $7 million defenseman. And I like Mario Ferraro, but like I look at him and I see him as maybe somewhere between 5 and 7. I don't think he's in that stratosphere. And maybe some of those guys that got paid aren't in that stratosphere either. But I'm not too concerned about Ferraro's next deal.
I think more than anything, you look at the guys who did get paid the big money,
Mm-hmm.
and two people come into mind right now. One, of course, is Vlasic right now, but also Tyler Myers in Vancouver. He's sitting on a contract, and yikes, But
Yeah, I mean, you obviously want to pay your guys, but like you don't have to like. I think Mario likes it here. I don't think they have to go break the bank for him right now. Like they can give him a bridge deal. I know those are pretty much becoming extinct in the NHL, but I don't know. I don't think they have to pay. Like he's still an RFA. I don't think he's gonna sit at home.
yeah, no, I would find it very very hard to believe if that's the case. So, I think unless there's anything else that I'm missing, I think that's all we're gonna have for this one. You get a double dip on Sunday. You'll have an after dark following Sharks and Blue Jackets, which Ian has promised to make it a very special 3-hour after dark.
Yeah,
And I see you're trying to hold back a big smile, but
just because I know AJ's like just going to kill me.
I don't know what in the world. I just hope it's a goal fest. If that's the case, then then there's something to talk about. Not a 1-0 victory, we hope. But the other thing too with going into Columbus is that these guys are eager to get home, and have struggled finishing up a roadie, and they've also struggled when they've come home that first game after roadie. So I hope they don't fall into that, and hopefully they get a nice day off tomorrow.
Yeah, and hopefully whatever is ailing James Reimer isn't serious. Like, hopefully it's just like just wasn't feeling well. Hopefully there's nothing more to that than what we thought.
Right. So that'll do it for us. In case you missed anything, or do you want to watch this again, and we appreciate if you did, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube channel. Smash that. Yeah, forget Smashville. Smash the subscribe button and hit that notification bell
button.
And that like button. SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. I know we got one Twitter follower who posted how much he appreciates listening to us. So you can always check us out on the audio-wise as well at tealtownusa.com. But, of course, if you are watching us on YouTube on the replay, leave a comment down below. Leave us what you thought of the show, what you thought of the game, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, and also for anyone who's like, who happened to have us on their Spotify Wrapped as their most listened to podcast. Thanks for sharing that on the Twitter machine. That makes me always feel good. I mean, everyone feel good, but me too.
Get some all the warm fuzzies, folks. It's
better. Absolutely.
More warm fuzzies than a peppermint hot cocoa for sure. So, with that, we'll bring it to a close. As Ian, you got to prep for your 3-hour After Dark on Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Your final thoughts and where the people can find you.
Final thoughts again. I think there's been seasons where there's a lot of good reasons to be angry at the Sharks. So far this season has not been one of them. Maybe not the outcome that we wanted tonight, but I feel like if they continue playing this way, obviously, like defensively, if they keep playing this way and they can find a little bit of offense, like this team's gonna do okay more nights than not. Let's hope the good times keep rolling. Let's hope Adin Hill can keep this up, and we can, we don't have to have angry goalie talks.
That would make it a 4-hour After Dark if that's the case. One we haven't done since the Sharks won the West in 2016. So.
Ian's gonna find I need a new pinata though, so let's find someone.
Marc-Edouard Vlasic seems like a nice one, but I digress. All right, we're out of here. So on Sunday, here's a big thing for you, gang. So you're going to get the After Dark, and after that, you're going to have Pucknologist with AJ and Jerk, and probably Ian too. He'll still linger on to the show.
I will. I'll still be on. I'll be on the air. We'll have 2 different live streams going. It'll be amazing.
Oh yes. So. Hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that notification bell so you know when we go on. And, of course, we'll be back with you Sunday after the Sharks and Neon Buggers and for Pucknologists. And as for me, I get to go count fruits and vegetables overnight. So with that, I will leave you with that. The Chompersation now jumps over to the Discord channel where we will continue on with all our fun stuff. So until then, thanks for watching. And until next time, keep it real. Keep it teal. Keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. We will see you on Sunday.